Hey everybody, Gary, Main Brew Guy here. Welcome back to So You're Opening a Brewery series. This is the episode 1 of the build out phase. There's a lot of planning still going on in this phase, but it's more geared towards the location that you have selected. So I just want to recap a little bit on the planning stuff because it's going to tie into this video. And plus there's some news halfway through this video. We have a guest appearance coming on, and I'm not drinking a beer yet because of that. So under the planning phase, you're really the most important part. Once you've decided on a plan, a budget, the size of the place you want, how much rent you can spend, the size of the brew system you're going to start out with, how many fermenters you're going to have, kind of dictates the size of the space. So once you've decided what type of business you want, and are you going to do food? Are you just going to do tap sales? Are you going to do tap sales and distribution? Are you going to do distribution, tap sales, and carry out? In other words, somebody picks up a 4-pack and walks out the door with it. In some states, that's a different type of license, which costs more. Here in Florida, it's $3,000 a year versus $5,000 a year to distribute and also to be able to carry a 4-pack out the door. So you got to know what your state has for its regulation. Recapping on the space part, going out and looking to ad nauseum of all these different locations, and that honestly took a long time. Like for me, when I was doing the budgeting and deciding what size I want to start out with in the brew house, that took a lot of understanding the numbers and crunching the numbers and seeing where I made, I could do the best. Where was that nice little keyhole of, I'm poised for growth. I didn't start out too small, but I didn't start out too big where I'm going to go bankrupt or, belly up in the first 6 months because I went in too big too fast. So there's that, balance. Also, you got to know your market. You got to know if your market will support what you're hoping to do. And a lot of times that really just, it's you bearing witness at other breweries around you and seeing how they're doing, going in, counting how many people are in the room on a Saturday night, watching how many people leave and come through the door, sort of, crunching those numbers in your head too. How long have they been established? What's the general feedback you're hearing from people in the beers? How knowledgeable are the bartenders? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you start looking at when you're doing a brewery. So anyway, going out and looking for the spot, my God, what a chore. I did find a couple of spaces that could have worked. They weren't ideal. They weren't what I had in mind. They didn't hit all my sort of requirements. Some had low ceilings but enough space. Some had 3-phase. Some didn't. Bringing in 3-phase power in an old building or a building that's already been occupied, can be very, very expensive. Like we're talking, $50,000, $60,000 just to bring in that kind of power. We're talking 400 amps here of 3-phase power. So there's a lot to plan. Because of that planning that's going on, there's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, there's the social media pieces, all the accounts you're trying to open, what kind of bar tables you're going to use, what kind of chairs are you going to use, what's the type of wood or material you're going to have on your bar top, what's the general appearance of your brewery, how big is your cooler. I mean, it is insane the amount of information that you're trying to keep track of. So I'm going to give a free plug here to Monday.com. Monday.com is a tool that you can spend money on if you wanted, but up to 2 people and 3 boards. They're sort of really high-end sort of multifunctional spreadsheet, which I was going to build, but this product was already in there. And thanks to a certain person who I'll introduce in a moment, that he brought that to the table, and it was a fantastic tool, and it continues to be a fantastic tool to track our progress and keep track of all of the different moving parts we have. Yeah, it's really wordy, but just wanted to give that free plug because it's been really important tool for us getting started. One of the things that you definitely want to make sure of, and we talked about this before, is all your social medias. Make sure those are set up. Make sure your website's set up. Make sure you understand what kind of business you're going to be. You're going to be a doing business as, or you're going to be an LLC, sole proprietor, or you're going to be an S corp, or full-blown corporation. You have to decide. So anyway, as this project went on and on and on, it started to become a giant behemoth. And I started to notice that for the numbers to really work, I was going to have to spend an enormous amount of time at the brewery, and it wasn't going to be enough. You know, we were going to be open 36 hours a week, but I still had to brew. We have a kitchen. There's a lot of cleaning, you know, recipe formulations and general brewery cleaning and maintenance. And because of the size of this project, I decided to bring on a partner. While I introduce the partner in this adventure of ours, I'll start pouring the beers. And we can talk about that in a moment. So I'm going to introduce.
Thanks, Gary. Hey, everybody. My name's Josh Hoover. I'm proud to be partnering with Gary on this new venture, and excited to kind of jump into a little bit about our partnership and where that's going to lead us to in the future.
Okay, so now you know it's Josh. So while I'm getting this beer open here, I want to talk about why I decided to approach Josh Hoover. Basically, it has to do with I've known Josh for a long time. We've visited each other in large groups. And I have to say, I think Josh and I have known each other for probably about 9 years, if not 10. So we talked for quite a while. He's the one that introduced me to the Monday.com. So Josh, do you have your Mangrove Red out? I know you don't have my beer yet.
As a matter of fact, Gary, I do. I actually had this waiting for you. Here she is. I hope it looks good on this angle, but she's pretty clear and nice and red on my side.
Mine looks very similar to yours, although I'm losing my light. Mine might be just a shade darker. Full disclosure on mine, the White Labs Chico yeast, I didn't do a starter, but I didn't really need to because this is a low ABV beer, and it was well under the required, you need to do a starter for it, but I really never have a whole lot of success with White Labs in Florida. I don't know if it's because of the long journey. The packets just, you know, they don't maintain their viability completely, even though it was well within the expiration date. But I didn't because I was pressed for time, and I paid for it because I finished at 10.19, and that's considerably higher than where I think Josh finished. Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but I think it was 1.011.
Yeah, Gary, I've got my Beersmith up here. It finished at, you were close, 1.012. So it was this beer is a total of 4.9% ABV.
So anyway, this is Josh's Mangrove Red. We renamed his Red X beer Mangrove Red. You'll see that on the website under our beer menu. This is my version of it. It is a bit darker. All right, going in for the nose. Oh, I went a little too deep. I got it on my schnoz. Okay, so mine does definitely smell a little sweeter, which is expected. His smells a little more dry, malty, a little bit of coffee notes. Mine is malty. I'm not picking up the coffee notes, probably because it's being overpowered by the malt. Residual malt. Okay, here we go. That is a really good beer. When we were doing the SJ Pour Challenge, I'm not sure, Josh, if this went all the way, but if not, it was in the top 3. Anyway, I really enjoyed this beer when I was doing the reviews. It was probably one of my favorites. This one, however, still is really good. We had a Friendsgiving here, and people were crushing on this beer. I don't find it cloying at all, but let's go in for it. So it's equally as aqueous as Josh's. Although I think with Josh's, it finishes just a little drier as expected. But my God, they're virtually the same beer. I think if mine had finished where his was at, it would be identical. And we tried to do a lighter beer to see how his recipes would tie into my recipes, because I'm basing the conversion to the 3.5 barrel system off of my recipes. So we're trying to figure out how much tweaking we have to do on his recipes, because Josh, of course, is going to bring a bunch of his recipes to the table. So Josh, what do you think of yours?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked me to revisit this beer. And I do remember during the SU4 challenge, you had a glowing review of this, and this was 2016. And hopefully my brewing has gotten better since then. I totally dig it. The original recipe, I think, was a 3.1% ABV, and I think we'll get into the numbers here in a little bit as far as finishing gravities, because I know that yours was different. I bumped this recipe up a little bit to near the 5% range. The SJ4 challenge where we did this called for beers, I think it was 4.5% or less. I took it way down to 3.1, 3.2%. So I wanted to build this up, knowing that we were going to have, this as a beer in the brewery, and I want people to get a little bit more bang for their buck than a 3% beer. So, like I said, I think this is around 5%. That being said, long-winded answer, I dig it. I think it's cleaner than it ever was before. I think in my version here, I do definitely get the coffee malt. I was worried about the lactose, kind of having like this weighing down effect. It doesn't, but it does add to the body. And it's super clean. And my version came out super clear. I was worried about clarity. I was worried about too dark of a color. We added more, the percentage ratio of coffee malt in the grist compared to the original recipe. I added more this time around, so I was worried about it darkening the beer too much, but it has not done that. It's got lacing on the glass for days. I'm very, very happy with this beer. So yeah, Red X and coffee malt. Like I said before, lactose. This is a great sessionable mangrove red IPA.
So anyway, back to deciding on a partner. So I had to decide on a partner, and I had to dig through like a bunch of different thought processes. Do I join a local club here and find out if there's anybody that's close to wanting to jump into the market? Then I would be getting into it with somebody I don't know anything about. I don't know how they are. I don't know their work ethics. I don't know what kind of person they are. Even though Josh and I are, on opposite ends of the states, I've known him for a while, and we've talked many, many times over the years in group chats and BrewTubers, and before BrewTubers, we were doing Zoom, not Zoom, but Uvu calls and things of that nature, long into the night, chatting, talking about beer, talking about life, whatever it is. Josh and Michelle are at the right age. They're quite considerably younger than I am, so they bring fresh ideas to the table. They're also really good with the social media products, which I am not really that savvy with there. Knowing your limitations, of course, and your strong suits are also a deciding factor of who you might bring in. The other thing is that I believed that Josh and Michelle were willing to make that move, because Josh has expressed in the past that he would love to open a brewery someday. And California is quite saturated and very expensive. So we talked more about that. And anyway, I'll let Josh talk to you on why he thinks this is a good idea and a good move for him and Michelle, and why I thought he was the right choice. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I can't really speak on a whole lot why I think that you thought I was the right choice, but I think we both have, I know we have the same creative drive when it comes to, beer creativity, recipe creativity, food, general, brewery concept, discussions that we've had. We align a lot on all of that. And then, with the age gap that we have, obviously, Gary, you've got, with age comes experience and wisdom. And honestly, not just that, but like you've been here before. You've started businesses up before in the past. Whereas I have not. I have a lot of experience in business and customer service and just dealing with people. And that itself is a monster in and of itself. I bring some of the youth and not saying that you don't have the creativity, but I've got some of the youth and creativity and the energy and the drive and the ambition, and you have all of those qualities too. I think we're both just very much in sync on that. You had me in mind a couple of years ago. I had no idea. And at the time, I had kind of lost that drive. I thought, well, this is a pipe dream. This is a maybe someday brewery idea. How's that ever going to happen? I mean, I'm in California. As you said, I'm in California. It's expensive as hell here. So when Gary, you came into the picture for me and reintroduced this idea of, hey, this brewery thing's possible. And, you reached out and said, hey, want to come along for the ride? Basically, it lit the fire again. And so I think over the next, however long this goes, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years, whatever it is, we're going to put all of our energy and heart and devotion and passion into this thing. So I think we both agree on that. I think that it's going to be a wild success, and I cannot wait for the ride that's to come.
Yeah, as you can see why, Josh is a really good choice for me, and I think we'll complement each other in certain areas. Where I'm weak, he's strong, and vice versa. We'll, of course, identify that as we go along, and hopefully I get better with social media with his help, and he gets better with whatever he needs to get better with. So anyway, here we are. And opportunity for Josh, opportunity for me, because now I have a partner that's equally vested. He's bringing money to the table as well. He's bringing his sweat equity. He's taking a big risk moving out here. They're both quitting their jobs and coming here. I mean, that's a big deal for them. Josh will be a partner, and he will have a large stake in the business. So it'll be well worth it if this takes off and does as well as I suspect it will. So anyway, I just wanted to get that introduction out of the way, let everybody know that Josh Hoover and I are entering into a partnership for Chubby Mermaid Brewing Company, and we will be opening hopefully sometime in March if the progression on the building and the build out continues to move and at the pace that it's moving now. Equipment, some of you may have seen some of the Instagram posts of our equipment being packaged and being shipped. So it's actually a container ship now on its way. Should be here December 8th. That in Miami in the port, and then we have to clear customs, get it shipped over here. So, excuse me, I'm suspecting that I'll have the equipment at the location. Whether it's done or not, I don't know. We may have to put it in storage first, but logistics. Anyway, did the best I could. I tried to time it right. The Hurricane Ian didn't help, so that threw us a little curveball. But anyway, I'm rambling. Basically, equipment's coming. It's already paid for. The shipping's already been paid for. The only thing I had to do is clear customs, pay the 10% tariff, get the equipment at the site, and start hooking everything up. As you see in the pictures, there's a lot of assembly required. And Josh will be here at the time, and we can do it together so he can see how everything is done. Josh and I will be doing a lot of the build out, building the bar, running all the lines for the kegs, and the gas lines, the beer lines, putting in all the taps. I mean, you name it. We're going to be doing a lot. So as time goes on, hopefully the next video will actually be in the building shooting video, and that will be part 2. I don't know how many parts of this. It's probably going to be quite a few. up until opening day. So stay tuned. And Josh, you want to close it out?
Yeah, I'll close it out. Thanks everybody for watching. Continue to watch on this channel for updates on here on YouTube. Also, we've got Chubby Mermaid Brewing on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And so go ahead and give us a follow on there to get the latest updates on not just the progress of the build out of the brewery, but just once we're open, man. It's going to be a fun follow, I think, for those that are into the journey and the progression from home brewing to the road to pro. And so yeah, give us a follow, and cheers everybody. Cheers, Gary.
Cheers, everybody. Okay, on my way to a brewery in Tampa who listed some kegs for sale on the Florida Brewers Guild. I would recommend highly that if you're going to open your brewery, you get on your local Brewers Guild. You can pick up some pretty good deals. I was able to pick up these kegs, which are 40 halves and 20 slims, for about half the cost of what it would have cost us to buy them brand new. Yes, they are used, but they were described as gently used. We'll have to clean them up, put our own labels on them, but gotta cut costs where we can. Anyway, got a 3-hour drive, but all for the cause. Cheers.